Hey there, my fellow visionaries. How are you? How are you on this beautiful, beautiful Tuesday? What is it? Take Action Tuesday, Top of Mind Tuesday. What's going on? This is Jacqueline Turnbow. We are coming live and we have a special treat. But before we get started, we are going to see if we can send this out to all you visionaries, those that it will allow me to send out to. And we are going to get the party started. Hope your day is going well so far. All right. Yay, we're there. And so let me see if I can get this sent out. I'm just clicking. I know many of you are working. And those of you that may catch the replay. So I'm going to sit that down there. All right. So again, welcome to the Visionary Spotlight. And we are delighted, elated to have our visionary for the month of August, Starr Loutsis, come and just share with us her vision and why she does what she does. And we are just super excited. She is just full of energy, and I just know we're going to get so many takeaways. She just lights up the room. Her parents knew what to name her because she lives up to her name. She is truly a star. And so, without further ado, I present to some and introduce to others the one and only Starr visionary, Starr Loutsis.
Hey! Thank you, Jackie. That was
great. Yay! We are so excited that you're here with us. Yay. How are you, Starr?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's been a great Tuesday. The sun is shining. No complaints.
Yay! Well, thanks for putting up with us. We had a lot going on prior to the session here, but we are glad you are here. Yeah, and she was right on time, guys. She was right on time. It was me that caused the delay, but we are here and we're excited. We're just going to have a conversation. Yeah. So, Starr, just tell us a little bit about yourself. We're going to let you just share with us your background and why you do what you do.
Okay, yeah. So I'm Starr, super excited to be here. Feel very honored when Jackie asked me to be the visionary of the month. I was like, oh, wow, okay. I've reached a certain level then, which is great to know. And yeah, about me. So I have, I've always been a really strong worker. I actually left high school early to get to work. I was the person who would actually sleep through high school. I showed up to lunch, photography, and English, and that was it. And then I was constantly getting in trouble because it was you have to go to school, right? But then I found a little loophole that was well, if you work full time, then you don't have to go to school. And I had also worked, done babysitting for a few years, since junior high. So I was definitely motivated by money. And so I was like, well, let me get a job then. So I worked and I worked, I got a job at Subway. um, and ended up working there for like 5, 6 years. Ended up moving it into like a manager role, having like my own store, my own team. Um, and then kind of being like, okay, like what's like next, right? Like I don't want to be here forever, right? But it was like a really great first job. Went to school a little bit, ended up getting a really good like job, making a ton of money. And then I had like the choice to either further my education, because I had first just gotten like an AA, with the goal to work a little bit and then pursue the BA. Um, and I had a bunch of money saved up, and I was like really was loving travel. So it was 2014, and no, that's when I graduated college. I'm sorry. It was I want to say like 2015. So I had gotten this job, I had saved up some money, and every month for that year, I bought a plane ticket and took a 3-day weekend to just a random state. I would just pick a state and be like, I've never been here. Let's see what it's like to go here, right? And then I want to say November 2015, I decided to do like I call it a backpacking trip, but I stayed in like hotels, and like I drove a little bit. I took like a train. So it wasn't like that like hiking backpacking trip. But I like backpacked the East Coast, and just would like stay like a couple nights in a new city in a new state, and then just kind of like move downward is where I was going. And I loved that. Like that was like so much fun. And so I remember I was like in a hotel, and I called my mom, and I was like, I always call her when I'm about to do something like reckless, just to like have her like stabilize the situation. And I was like, so I kind of really want to take a year off and just like travel the world. Like, is that insane? And she
Wow.
was like, you have the money, like you're young. Why not? You know?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
And so I like I thought about it for like another month, and was just like, it's either I go to school, right? But then it was like school will always be there, work will
Right.
always be there,
Mhm. Mhm.
adventuring when you're young, there's like a little bit of a time cap.
Right.
So I did it. I quit my job, my stable job. Everyone was like, a lot of people were kind of like, that sounds like shaky, but like also so you know?
Right. Right.
And so I ended up traveling for a year and just kind of like bounced around. Um, and then came back and realized that I wanted my purpose to be, or not like I realized but it was like, I felt like I had like a purpose for like helping people, and I wanted my
Awesome.
life to like have like use. And so it wasn't
Mhm.
necessarily where it was like money focused, right? Whereas before, I feel like the mindset is like you go to school, you work, and you just kind of like focus on like that. And I really wanted like adventure, and then I also wanted my life to have purpose, basically, to like.
Right.
So I got a job working in like social work. Loved it. Like I loved it. I mean there are hard moments for sure, absolutely. Um but it was like the most, I think, rewarding couple years of my life, because I was able to like see people like when their lights change inside, realizing like there's hope for them. They had like finding like their spark is like my
That's
favorite thing
amazing.
in the world.
Yes.
But there's no money in that. So it was like, here on one hand, right? It was like you work, you work, you work, you work, but then
Mhm.
it's not necessarily rewarding. And then on the other hand, and this is just like my experience of the time,
Mhm.
was you do something super rewarding, but then there's no money in it. And it's like I was actually technically homeless. So
Oh, wow.
it was like I can't keep this up. Um
Mhm.
so yeah, fast forward now, 2022, where I have my own business. I've got an amazing apartment that I've lived in. I just signed a lease, my 3rd year lease. And what's also kind
Awesome.
of cool is like in my story, I've never lived anywhere, even in childhood, for longer than like 2.5 years. So,
Wow.
like, there's just, like, so much, like, stability happening in my life
Okay.
right now,
Okay. Okay.
and I've got, like, a dog that I love, and yeah,
Yeah.
so it's just, like, what I've like, learning through that is, in every moment to follow the dream that's inside my heart because it rises me to a
Absolutely.
new level, right? And I think back to if I were to have taken the path in 2015, 2016 to go work on a BA instead of
Mhm.
traveling the world, I think
Mhm.
I would have been stuck and feeling um not fulfilled in like living my purpose, but like following, like the world's path for myself. Um, and I just feel really excited that I took that risk and that I keep taking these risks on myself to get to the life that I have. And I'm just still literally at the bottom. Like there's like this huge mountain peak that I'm like climbing up. And I'm so excited. I love this path that I'm on. So
Oh my gosh, you said so much. So it's safe to say, Star, that from the beginning, you did not put yourself in a box. To
Right.
me, it sounds like you've always been authentic.
Yeah.
So that's just a part of who you are.
Yeah.
And so you said, even in school,
Mm.
you said you worked versus you figured out a way you didn't have to go to your classes full time. And
Yeah.
so you worked around the system, not working the system, but you worked around the system.
Yeah.
And then you went to college. And so is it fair to say like you gained experience from, you gained a strong work ethic
Mhm.
at a young age, but yet you still true to who you were.
Mhm.
You're adventurous and all that. And then even in college, that's how you gain the credentials to be able to do the social work later on.
Yeah.
And then you're an adventurer, and
Mm.
so you learn so much. And from your experience in traveling, what do you think that how do you think that helped you in becoming, who you are today, just following your purpose? Like you said, you love helping people.
Yeah.
How did that experience versus going to institution
Right.
for
Right.
several years? What's the difference to
Right.
you?
Yeah. And I think that's good because I can kind of speak a little bit on both, right? Because I got my AA
Okay.
through like an institution and then I also traveled a lot. So, I definitely get like I'm not against college by any means.
Right.
I do feel like I learned so much, like even writing, I learned how to, I would go to even I loved English. I loved, so writing and in college I would take, learn that and you learn you learn structure, which I think is super important. And I think if I didn't go back to school, I think I would be
Mhm.
missing an element of structure in my life that I
Okay.
really gained from school. And you can learn that in other ways. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I'm not saying that there's
Right.
one lane, obviously. Um,
Right.
but then in adventure, I learned so much about myself. What do I like? What do I don't like? What do I want? What do I don't want? And
Right.
then also people, like you
Yeah.
literally experience, the genuine kindness of a stranger when you're in the middle of China and you don't speak the language. You know what I mean?
Wow,
Like,
wow.
and that I have that, all over the world I have been, and just seen literally the kindness of stranger where I'm just like standing on the street, just like, probably looking in panic, thinking to myself, I have it put together, but probably looking panicked, right? And people like coming up to me with just like such kindness of like, where do you need to go? How are you? And like pointing me
Right.
to direction, and um, just like and I think that really really humbled me and really allowed me to get outside of myself and
Okay.
to be able to connect with other people, right? Where it's, I think sometimes, and I know like for myself, right, it's, we can be very kind of self-centered,
Right.
self-involved, almost think, the world revolves around me. I'm the
Yeah.
most
Right.
important person. But when you put yourself in those situations where you don't know anybody, you don't speak the
Right.
language, you don't read the language, you're like you're at the mercy of the world, basically.
Wow.
You're just like a toddler in an adult body, like,
Right.
you learn the greatness of other people. You learn the greatness
That's
of
awesome.
community, and you see just genuine kindness. And I think
Right.
a lot of times from the news, like if we're somebody who just constantly watches the news, we're going to have
Mhm.
all of these really negative
Right.
viewpoints on individual humans. But if we were to just dive into their culture, we will
Yeah.
see that they are just as loving, just as kind,
That's
just
good.
as thoughtful, just as they have their own families, they're working the best that they can. And so I think experience um also encourages me to not fall back into that box mentality coming
Okay.
back home.
Wow. So how, as a visionary, someone that really believes in people
Mhm.
and helping them, how important do you think it is to be sensitive to others as a visionary? Not
Mhm.
only, like you said, don't be self-centered. Of course, you're going to recognize the gifts and the callings that you have,
Right, yeah.
and but more importantly, how you can serve others, though, especially those that you've been assigned to,
Mm,
because we believe that every one of us, there's an assignment on
yeah,
our lives,
yeah.
and there's a mission that we've, just specifically us, have been called to do. So how important do you think just being sensitive to others
Mm.
as a visionary, how important is it? And I'm going to let you speak to that. And I'm going to give you the
Yeah,
floor.
I think it's, like, extremely important, to be able to just see somebody else and pull out, their strengths. And I think that's also, like, a strength of mine. That's something that energizes me. That's something that I love to see. Um, and I think we do need each other in a community, to be able to grow and better and be the best versions of ourselves by the person next to us, the people in our sphere. If they're rising, we're rising. Um, so yeah, I think um, being able to see their value, somebody else's value, and encouraging them to live that out is is necessary for the individual.
I so agree. Thank you so much
Mhm.
for sharing that. It is so important. It's so important because we don't realize how, first of all, how important it is for us to follow through on the things that we've been called to do, the
Mhm.
vision that we've been given. And like you said, it brings out the most in others too.
Right,
So it's not just about our vision, what we see ourselves doing, but we
mm,
have to recognize that we are linked to someone else's destiny
right, right,
as
right,
well. And we
right.
want to bring out the best in them if possible.
Right, right.
So that is just key.
Yeah.
I love
And
it.
also knowing like they're linked to us, you know, like there's so
Yes,
much that we can actually learn from them. And that's something that I really try to take be mindful of too, is in a situation to think, you know, how what can I learn from this person? What does this person know that I don't yet know? Or what can I see in them that can help me grow, you know? So we
absolutely.
actually need each other.
Yes, we do. I totally agree. And I'm going to just take a little short break,
Okay.
just in acknowledge we had someone come on and said hello. So again, for anyone that's coming on and you've never been on StreamYard or never um, been a part of someone's broadcast, whereas you make comments, just follow the direction. It'll tell you, just click on this link. Basically, you're giving this platform, StreamYard, the permission to show your name,
Mm.
and if your picture, if you have one, linked to your Facebook account. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm not sure who you are, but fellow visionary, thank you, thank you, thank you. So there's a few things that stuck out to me that when you
Okay.
were sharing your background. So, and I'm sure there were some challenges along the way, even though you were just living out what many of us wish we could do, travel the world. And just take off and just do it. I kudos to you for that. I tell you, that is just truly amazing. I love travel too,
Mm.
so that is truly amazing. And I'm sure you came up against some challenges with that, but you encouraged us to continue to follow the dream. You wanted
Yeah.
to follow your dream.
Yeah.
So speak on that, Starr. What is it? How do you define following your dream?
Yeah, ooh, that's a good question. I mean, I think the dream is like inside you. I think it's like what you think about, what you desire, what your heart like leans to. And I think we get so um we get stuck in like this mundane day-to-day routine, right? Where we
Right, right.
think um that where we think it's like almost childish
Hmm.
to dream and follow the dream, right? Where it's
Right,
like, yeah,
right,
but I have bills, and yeah, but this, and yeah, but that. And it's like
right.
you can literally make excuses, and some of your excuses
Absolutely.
could be the most valid excuse,
Right.
right? Maybe you have like 3 toddlers and you're like, listen, that sounds cute, but I can't do that, you know? And I mean, if it's your dream, if it's your desire, if it's something where you're scrolling, pictures of beaches,
Right.
do it. Just like do
Yes.
it. Pack up the kids, get one of those little backpacks, you know what I mean? Like
Right.
go to the beach. And it doesn't have to
Yeah.
be like, I would also say like sometimes like expectations can kind of
Okay.
get in our ways too, right? Where we're imagining one thing, but you
Mhm.
have to also, and this is something that I still learn, is like allow like the reality to be the reality while living the dream, you know? And
Okay.
so it's like if you have a bunch, this is just one idea, but like if you have a bunch of kids and you like want to travel the world, you're probably not going to be on like this luxury tour, but you
Right.
can do it based off of your own reality.
Yeah.
And it would be it could still be glamorous because you're living out your dream, you know?
Oh, that is so crucial.
Yeah.
Is it fair to say, do you think sometimes we hold our own selves back
Oh
because,
yeah.
like you said, the expectation,
Yeah.
we have all this glitz and glamour in our mind, but really, in all transparency, we have to really search within
Mm.
and see what truly will make us happy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right.
We create do you agree we create our own happiness?
I do agree. I do agree. And I think we can hinder that too, you know?
Yes, because
Yeah.
we, maybe it's possible that because we see all the stuff on around us, what society says is success and
Right.
all that. But I love when you just said, it could be you should have your own reality as to where what makes you truly happy. It doesn't
Mhm.
have to be like you said, if you want to go on a cruise, it doesn't have to be on a luxury liner. It could just be something basic. Or
Right.
just like we here in Ohio, we
Mhm.
don't have a real beach. When I say a real beach to go to, but we have like man-made beaches.
Yeah.
So just going to the beach there, just the thought of getting out, getting in the just in the open air and having fun,
Yeah.
that could be our reality. Just creating moments,
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. Right.
wonderful memories
Right.
and all that.
Right.
So that's why we need to be true to our dream.
Yeah.
Yes, it could be larger than life because we are visionaries,
Yeah.
but for the moment, for that season of your life,
Yeah.
don't overthink things and you can
Right.
miss out on something
Right.
really great.
And I would also say
Okay.
too, like, don't punish yourself in terms of like, I'm saving, I'm saving, I'm saving, I'm waiting, I'm waiting, I'm waiting. You know, whatever day off you have, go do something that is as close to living your dream as possible.
Ooh,
And
that's
that
good.
is going to grow you to take that bigger step, you
I
know?
love it.
So it's like literally, like, I mean, I started with just like a 3-day weekend where I was going to random
Mhm.
places. You know, it just grew.
Oh,
And
I
I try
love
to
it.
do that now, right? Where it's like, I want to get more deeper into photography, and
Okay.
I'm going to start being like going out each day, and
Okay.
capturing joy every day. I want to find it. I know it's there, right?
Right.
We hear
Right.
so much damage that happens, but I
Yeah.
know there's joy.
Oh, I
And
love
so I
that.
ended up buying this nice camera because I was like, I'm going to now take that step and I'm gonna go capture it and I'm gonna share it. And so sometimes it's literally just a small step towards something, and then you watch
Wow.
to see how it grows into something bigger.
For you to be as young as you are, Star, you have so much wisdom. Okay, so again, we're gonna backtrack a little bit. So even at a young age, you had wisdom enough to save up.
Mm,
So your traveling the world didn't just happen overnight. It
yeah,
was something that you saved up for.
yeah,
And like you're telling us even now, you can have this great vision,
mhm.
something that you want to do, this dream that you have, but start small.
Right, right,
You
right.
can start small and it will just enlarge, it will just enhance.
Yeah.
So that is so much wisdom. So then there's another keyword. I'm picking out keywords, okay?
Okay.
Then you talked about being stuck,
Mm,
non-fulfilled.
mm.
Speak on that a little bit, and I'm going to give you the floor on that. How does that look like for you as a visionary? What can you say to maybe encourage someone that how did you overcome when you felt like, man, things are going my way? This isn't, I don't want to be in a box.
Yeah.
I'm an adventurous person. I'm a creative.
Yeah.
I'm just like, no, this is not working. So
Yeah, and
what would you say to someone that they feel like they're stuck?
yeah, and I can definitely speak on this too, and I try to encourage people often from this same mindset, because I hear a lot about, I want to, one day I will, and I'm always just like, do it now, go now, play now, you know? And so let's see, I find myself, and I've gotten better, but I would find myself putting myself back in the box. For instance, I got this job a couple years ago, And I was making really good money. I was excelling at it. And I remember I was sitting in the business area, and feeling so trapped. Like, when you're trapped, when you're in the box, when you're not being fulfilled. Like, you have, for me, I feel it like in my chest. I just feel claustrophobic. But again, going back to that mundane and then the routine and then the day to day, sometimes that keeps us in that box, right? Because it's like that false security. So anyways, I'm sitting here, and I remember thinking, I want to do something different. And then it was like in my head, it was like, then why don't you do it? And it was just like that fear of, well, what if I run out of money, or um what if I'm not successful at it? And it was like pounding in my chest. And I got up. The shift was done, finished the shift. Um, and that was the last time I was there, And that was that was last year. That was last June. And I have never been without, and I have constantly been rising. And so my encouragement is, if you're feeling that pounding in your chest, to literally take the step, get up, lock the door, don't come back, and literally go towards your dream. And I had no real structured plan. I had some money in the bank, and I had some ideas, and I had passion, but I think sometimes when you're forced to live your dream, um, then you do it, versus keeping yourself in the box and just like peeking out, being like, it looks really great out there, should I come out? But I've got these bills, So yeah, that's really just is listen to what your body is saying and bet on yourself to succeed.
Wow, that you are bringing it. Oh, I love it. I love it. And then lastly, another key word,
Mm.
risk. You're a
Mm.
risk taker.
Yeah.
So give us Star's version of a risk taker. What does that look like to you as a visionary?
Yeah, and I think if you were to look at me at face value, you would think she just goes, she just pops off, But I'm very cognitive at the same time. I'm very I think and think and think and think and think. And so oftentimes what looks like a detrimental risk, or just maybe not detrimental, but it just looks like, ooh, that feels like that's a, which is a risk, right?
Right.
So it's, yeah, right, like where you're like, that's, and it is a risk, but it's also like, but I've thought it through enough, right, where it's
Okay.
like, i'm I'm hireable, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
not like I was leaving a job where then I could never get a job again. You know what I mean? Like, we live in a world where um you can find a job. So if you
Right.
lose your job, if you quit your job, if you get fired, if you get let go, you can find another job. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, you could get a job. So it's like, but you can't always you can't get back those years. You can't get back those experiences.
Right.
Um and so sometimes you have to weigh, do I want this life?
Okay.
And so I think that's what I do. I think I can always come back to this.
Okay.
I can always come back to a job. I can always succeed in a job.
Right.
Um, But if I'm this successful in this job, and if I'm this successful in every other job I've had, this is also what I think about people, where we're very successful individuals. We could go
Mhm.
anywhere, we can be anything, and we're constantly rising, we're constantly successful. But then we think we can't do it by ourselves. And it's like, based off of what? All you are is success, you know?
All right.
So I would say to that person who, well, I have a successful job. Well, I make this amount. And it's like, listen, you might definitely, absolutely will take a pay cut,
Yeah.
but at the risk of most likely, because of how awesome you are, succeeding above that, right? So now you have more time, you have more
Right.
energy, you have more peace, and you have more finances,
Right.
you're not
Right.
so stressed, you're not trapped in this box, you're not trying to save. You feel free. And I don't know, I value freedom too much,
Yes, I love
so
it.
it's just, you can't keep me in the box because I'm not free. That's what it was. That was the job, right? I had to
Okay.
be at this job for 12 hours.
Oh,
Okay. And they would, every
yeah.
day, I would want to take a lunch. And they'd be like, "You want to take a lunch today?" And it's like, "Yeah, bro."
Mhm.
Like, you know?
Wow. Wow.
And I think, maybe some people, they work that much and they still get their lunch or whatever. But how nice is it to just work like 6 hours,
Yeah.
5 hours, be able to, somebody hits you up, "Hey, you want to go to the lake? It's sunny." Yeah, let's go to the lake. I can work on this
Yes.
later. So freedom to me, I I value it too much.
So it's fair to say that being a risk taker, you have that freedom to do and to be
Yeah,
who you are. Okay.
right.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
Now,
All
if
right.
it's a, it's
So,
if it's let me say this really quick. If it's a risk that like somebody else is asking you to take, but you
mhm,
feel it doesn't like align with you, then I
okay.
mean, I would say no. But like if
Right.
it's something that literally is like tugging in your heart, like pounding at your chest, you
Yes.
know, jump in. Is I just jump in. Go all
Yes.
in. Give yourself a full year. And then
Okay.
if you waver and you're like, "You
Yes.
know what? I really did try," but I would imagine by a year you'd be climbing. There's no way.
Wow. I love how you when you were talking about the different stages of your journey that you were on, and you saw yourself rising,
Mm,
continue to rise, and you're yet rising. You said you're
mm,
yet going, you may feel like you're at the bottom of the mountain, but you're still going to the top. You're still
absolutely.
moving
Yeah.
forward. You're going ahead. And that is crucial
Mhm.
in, being a visionary. You can't just stay where you are and expect to achieve things. You have to be able to take that risk. Don't follow through on what you're doing. Follow your dream and definitely don't be stuck. So those are
Right.
some key things.
Yeah.
Key things. And we have a fellow visionary on here that says freedom is everything.
Yes.
Yes, freedom. That's and I know there's people that's connected to me to this day. They wonder why haven't she gone out to get a job, a 9 to 5.
Mm,
After being out here, it's
yeah.
I can't even. Oh, I shudder to think what it would be like to be at somebody's desk, like you said, 12 hours. Because I've done that in my
Yeah.
previous job. I've worked that long before,
Yeah.
and sometimes not taking a break.
Yeah.
So I'm no, but
Right.
just having that freedom
Yeah.
to do and to be that visionary that we've been called to be.
Right.
It's definitely a challenge at times. It's not all hunky dory.
Sure.
Everything is just all roses and peaches and all that. But it's worth it. It's
Yeah.
worth walking in that the gift, walking in your gifts and
Mm,
showing up,
yeah.
showing up,
Mm,
being present.
yeah.
So others can benefit too.
Yeah.
from what we have to give. So with that, we're going to transition into you just telling us you're an author,
Mhm.
and just tell us a little bit about that journey. Then we're going to let you go because we know you got stuff. You're working in the lab. You got things going on. So we don't want to hold you up too much longer. But just share a little bit about your journey becoming why. Well, first of all, tell us what your overall vision is, if you can. I realize there's times though that we really can't vocalize
Mm,
some of the things that we're doing right away, but the
yeah.
things that you are privy to share with us, your overall vision, and then you becoming an author, and tell us about your book, and then we'll
Yeah.
let you go.
Yeah. Um, so my overall vision, I want to be someone who encourages other people to get free and to be free, to leave the bondage. Um, I was actually sitting out at this park this morning. I take my dog to this park, and we played the ball. And there's a bench I like to sit at, and so I'm sitting down, just like looking at the clouds, and I often would have thought, I want to create, right? Like I consider myself an artist. Um, and as I'm sitting down, just like looking at the trees, looking at the sky and the clouds, I actually want to enjoy, like I believe in God, and I believe that He created this beautiful world for us. And people can add creation to it. And I'm not saying that, I'm no longer going to produce anything, because I definitely will. But I also want to enjoy. And so I think my big two visions for my life right now are to encourage other people to get free, and to enjoy and play in the creation that God has for us. Um, I've written 2 books so far. I'm working on a third. Well, I haven't. The third will start in September. But the first book I wrote, this is just the proof copy, is called The Purpose of Anger. And so that talks about my journey through anger as a teenager. I was very angry. I had, a history of trauma in my early ages, and there was really no outlet for processing anger when I was growing up. Anger was always sort of looked at as this negative emotion we don't talk about, we don't express. There's something wrong with you if you're angry. And what I've learned in my journey is that anger is more of a protective shield, that lets us know, we've been hurt, we've been wronged. And it's we need to be able to learn how to process it and express ourselves, because if we just sort of like lash out, right, there's negative consequences to that. If we just like keep it inside, stuff it in our body, there's negative consequences to that, to ourselves. And so this book, The Purpose of Anger, goes through my process through poetry, of how I am getting, like, learning that journey. It's an ongoing. I think sometimes people also think their goal is to never become angry again, but our emotions and our feelings we need, like, that's what allows us to be human. Um, and it's learning how to team up with our anger and to notice, okay, wow, I'm feeling this in my shoulders, I'm feeling this in my ankles, I'm feeling this in my, my wrists, or I'm tightening my fists, feeling it in my head, in my chest, like noticing your body when you're experiencing anger, and noticing the situation around. Is this situation triggering something from the past? Is this situation something that continues to kind of like come up? And then how to have that conversation, or how to remove yourself in a way that's safe for yourself and others. So that's that book. And there's a link somewhere I think Jackie has it where you can download 3 of the poems, and then it comes from there's pictures as well. There it is. Yep. And then it's also a journal prompt book too. So I invite you in to walk through your journey of anger. And I've traveled, like I said, all around the world, and so there's pictures in there as well of different places where I've traveled, or different places that also make me feel kind of like center. Because I think, emotion, heavy, whenever we deal with any emotion that we've oppressed, it can kind of cause us to spin. And so I like to find center and balance and things that can bring calmness. And so the pictures is like, you have kind of like a calming type picture. And then you have, a poem, and then you have writing paper where you can then sit down and process that too. And I would encourage you to do it in a safe space, have safe people that you can communicate to. We're not supposed to do life alone, and dealing with heavy emotions alone can also be very detrimental. So we want to make sure that we are building connected relationships. And so that's how I designed the book, to be able to do that. I have just also finished 100 Days of Poems. So if you want to go on my Instagram, I am Starr87. You can see for 100 days, each day I sat down, wrote a new poem, posted the poem. And so I'm turning that into a book, and that'll be 100 days of transformation, just sort of seeing my growth from day 1 to day 100. And again, hoping to encourage other people to sit down and see their growth. And sometimes we can do that through writing it out. I know we can get trapped in that mundane. And so sometimes it's hard for us to actually see how we've grown. And so when we're able to write it out, to journal, we can see, oh, wow, like 3 weeks ago I was here and now I'm up here. So yeah, that's what I've got going on. And yeah, I'm excited to just kind of to keep growing, to keep encouraging. I also help people publish their books. And yeah, just living the dream.
Wow. Well, thank you so much, Starr, for sharing with us, dropping those wisdom nuggets, like I like to call, and just sharing your journey. You truly are a visionary.
Thank you.
And you so inspire me every time. You don't even have to open up your mouth. You just light up a room, and we just thank God for the gifts and callings that he has placed, in your life, and you're not afraid to share with the world. Definitely those you've been assigned to. So, do you want to just give us one last thought, and then we'll just let you go? Because again, we value your time. We know you got things going on that's brewing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mostly just want to say thank you so much, Jackie, for having me on. I feel super honored. And I just feel like I'm on the right path. I think God allows us to rise as just as proof to keep moving forward, So I feel very honored, and I'm very thankful. And to anybody watching, I say go for it. Jump in, live your best life. Like, what's the worst that happens? You have to go get a job that you already have. You know what I mean? Like, then just take that risk now.
Yes, I love it. So, Starr, don't go away. Don't go away. Stay in the green room. I'll be right there.
All right, thanks.
Thank you again. Appreciate you. Well, there you have it. That was Starr Loutsis. She is an author. She is a creative. She is an entrepreneur, and we truly thank God for her, and she is a visionary. So hopefully you have gotten some takeaways, some things that will encourage you just to keep moving forward. Just remember, she said, follow the dream, don't get stuck, and be a risk taker. That's what it's going to take for you as a visionary to see the things that you've been graced to do. You've been graced to do what you do, and we have to acknowledge that. And so we just want to encourage you just to keep moving forward and live the best life that God has created and designed for you. So remember, you can do that thing that God has specifically designed you to do. You can do it. You can do what He's created you to do. There may be someone doing something similar, but they can never, ever do it like you. So know that you are loved beyond what you can ever dream or fathom. God loves you that much. He loves you that much. He's placed so much in you. And so say yes to Him today. If you haven't done that already, say yes so you can truly walk that path, go on that journey, and keep rising like our visionary Starr encouraged us to do. All right. So blessings to you, and we will talk with you soon.